Hey, this is Wendy with Loaves and Dishes, and today I'm going to show you how to fry chicken in a pan with oil. Now, I'm specifically doing this because someone who watches this channel requested to know how to fry chicken pieces in a pan in oil. But it's going to be the same with chicken or turkey or whatever, and it's also going to be the same whether you have chicken pieces or big pieces of chicken or whatever. So here I've got two humongous chicken breasts. I'm going to recommend that if you are new to cooking chicken, that you start out with chicken thighs. Even if the thigh isn't your favorite cut of meat, once it's cooked and fried, you're not really going to be able to tell much difference. But I say that because thighs are so much more forgiving than breasts. But here we have a breast, and if you have one of these pieces of skin on there, just get that off of there. Cut it off or pull it off, because that's tough, and nobody wants to bite into some tough stringy thing. Anyway, you're going to cut the chicken breast into small cubes. I recommend approximately the size of like a sugar cube, but sometimes you get to cutting these things and it wants to kind of tear apart or fall apart. So if you're having that problem, just cut it a little bigger. People can take a bigger bite, make it into 2 bites, just go with it. Anyway, cut into pieces. And again, you can use, I recommend chicken thighs if you're new to cooking chicken. Breasts tend to dry out more quickly when you're cooking them, and it's a little harder to control. So if you want a great end product, start with thighs. But if you're opposed to thighs, just use the breast. That's fine. Anyway, you're going to cut these into pieces, and while you're doing that, you can heat some oil in a pan. Now, I'm recommending that you use a skillet. I like to use a cast iron skillet. You can also use a nonstick skillet. I'm using a Dutch oven in this video because I am doing a little more deep frying with these. But as long as you have about 1 inch of oil in the bottom of your pan, you'll be fine. And that amount is going to vary depending on the size of your cooking pot. So smaller pot, 1 inch of oil is going to be less than a larger pot with 1 inch of oil. You're just going to have to use your best judgment. I want you to use peanut oil or vegetable oil or canola oil or sunflower oil, one of those oils that's a common cooking oil. Do not use olive oil or butter because those burn more quickly, and you don't want your chicken to end out with a burnt taste. So that's where we start. Now, how do you know how much to cook? Usually 1/3 to 1/2 pound of meat per person is the right amount for a meal. So if you're going to have 4 people, then you probably want to have 2 pounds of chicken. It could be a little less if you're having more side dishes. It could be a little more if you're having fewer side dishes. So if you're just serving, let's say, French fries with your chicken nuggets, then you're going to want to err more towards the 1/2 pound. Let's say you're having black-eyed peas, collard greens, and sweet potatoes with your chicken nuggets, then you can have less meat. So that's one way to save yourself some money, is choose more and less expensive side dishes. So anyway, once you get these all cut up, and I may speed this up in just a second to move on through to the next part, you want to measure your temperature, your oil temperature, and when it is at about 350, that would be the right frying temperature. Then you're going to take your breaded pieces of chicken and put some in there, but you don't want to crowd your pan. You want to allow plenty of room for those to cook all the way around. And I just wanted to tell you that ahead of time so that you're not throwing too many in there, saturating your pieces with oil, cooling the oil down to where it won't fry. There's a lot of problems that come with crowding your cooking oil, and you want to avoid those. So after you get this all cut up, wash your hands good, and then prepare your breading station. And what we're going to do is first we'll dry our meat off really good. It's important to have very dry meat before you start. So we'll add a little salt and pepper, put it on a paper towel, let it dry. Set up the breading station. Always wash your hands after touching raw meat before you touch other stuff in your kitchen. We're going to do one pan with plain flour. Then we're going to do one pan with eggs to do an egg wash. And then one pan with a seasoned flour. And I'm seasoning this flour with salt, pepper, garlic powder, and paprika. After you do this a time or two, you can change up those seasonings and make it, do something peppy. Do some seasonal salt, or do like a curry powder, or just whatever floats your boat. Go with seasonings that you like, that kind of match the palette of the other seasonings in the dish. You can do maybe a lemon pepper Italian or something like that. Get crazy with it. Anyway, so the third will be a seasoned flour, and when you do a seasoned flour, it needs to be heavily seasoned. You're going to think, wow, that's too much to put in the flour, but it's really not. Because you think about it, you're mixing it all up together, and just a little tiny bit is going on your individual pieces of chicken. I'm sorry, I said you're going to do a seasoned flour. You're not doing a seasoned flour, you're doing a seasoned panko. You want unseasoned panko breadcrumbs because they're good and crunchy. They're a little bit bigger than a seasoned flour, so they're going to give you a really nice crunch on your chicken nuggets. So anyway, I'm about finished. See how long that took me? I didn't actually end up speeding this up at all. It takes kind of a while to cut through all that chicken breast, but it's worth it. You want them all about the same size. Now we're going to take paper towel, and we'll put the pieces of chicken on the paper towel, because you want that chicken to be really very dry when it's time to go in the breading. So anyway, and I think I'm going to sprinkle it with some salt and pepper here. I kind of don't remember what I did exactly. So you really can't go wrong when you're doing this part. Just there, yes, salt and pepper. The salt helps pull some more fluid out of the chicken as well as seasoning it. So that'll help get it good and dry before we go in the breading, because I'll tap it off with a paper towel right before we do the breading. Next, we're going to set up our breading station. I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright, for our breading station, we want to get out 3 containers. The first is for our plain flour. And you see here, I'm dipping some out. Well, you can't see my flour container. But anyway, I'm putting about a cup. There's my flour container. About a cup of flour over into my bowl. You don't have, I have listed on the explanation of this video a breading station that I like over on Amazon. I don't own that, but I wish I did. I just don't have room in my tiny kitchen for it. So that's just a plain flour, and now we're going to do an egg wash. I'm going to do, I think, 3 eggs here. Beat them up. There's nothing special that you have to do with the egg wash. It's just 3 eggs. And then I'm going to set up a panko bowl, and that is going to be a cup of panko, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper, about a tablespoon of paprika, 3 teaspoons of garlic powder, and a tablespoon of baking powder. That baking powder is really important. And I know we're not baking here. It gives the crust on your chicken nuggets a nice dryness and crunch. So that's really important to add that in there. I don't want you to look at the ingredients and go, what? That can't be right. So I'm going to speed this up now to the end, because I'm just adding these seasonings. It's nothing so important. Alright, so take your 3 breading containers over to your stove. Get them set up. Make sure your oil is hot at 350. When you splash a little water in there, it bubbles and pops. That's how you know it's ready also. Or my daughter uses a chopstick, sticks that down in the oil, and if it bubbles around the oil, then she knows that, or bubbles around the chopstick, then she knows that it's hot enough for frying. Now see, I'm coating those pieces very well, and I'm not doing so many. That's like maybe 10 little squares. Go on, put them in the plain flour, then into the egg wash, then I plop them over into the panko breading. I'm going to coat them real good, and then into the hot oil they go. And again, my oil here is deeper than an inch, but you only need an inch. And it's because I'm doing more of a deep frying here. But if you're doing them in a frying pan with an inch of oil, you're going to let them cook on one side for a minute or so. Then you're going to flip them over to the other side, and they are done when they are golden brown, and when you stick a thermometer in it and it reads 165. That's the final cook temperature for chicken. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, I hope you will subscribe and like our other videos here on our channel. We do a lot of really basic cooking for beginners, and then occasionally we do some harder recipes to keep those of you who are more advanced cooks interested. We also have a podcast that you can find on any podcasting station where you listen to podcasts. I personally listen to Apple Podcasts, and it's called Dorks with Sports. And my daughter Sarah, who normally does these YouTube videos, and I go out and try foods at various restaurants, and we rate the menu that we get, or the item we get. But what really happens is a lot of mother-daughter back and forth, and our voices are very similar, so sometimes people say they have a hard time telling us apart. So I'm just going to say, if anything negative has been said that you don't like, that was probably Sarah. No, it was probably me, if you want to know the truth. Anyway, you see how we're frying this chicken here? You want to leave plenty of room for your little pieces to fry. Don't overcrowd your pan, even though you're hungry and you want to get dinner on the table. And then these chicken nuggets are great when you serve them with the dipping sauce, and I would like to recommend our Yum Yum sauce or our Tiger sauce. Those are both great ones for this. Also, the knockoff Chick-fil-A sauce and the Polynesian sauce that we have listed over on loavesandishes.net are great with this. So join me any day of the week over on loavesandishes.net. Join Sarah here on YouTube. That's usually who does these videos. We love having you. Leave us a comment below, because we live off of those comments. They're fun. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you again soon. Enjoy your day. If you have a request for a recipe, just leave it below and I'll get it and we'll do it, okay? Have a good one. Love ya. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Wendy. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you'll join Sarah and I on our mother-daughter adventures in takeout. You can find Dorks with Sports wherever you download podcasts, or at dorkswithsports.com.